What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this Week 12 Thursday Night Football Showdown breakdown here on Sharp Sports Network. I am your host, Joe Bewer, and I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite plays for this Thursday Night Football game between the Colts and the Houston Texans. Before I do that, I want to go ahead and give a shout-out to my boy Walker Veloxic. He has a video that we did earlier today. I'm kind of talking about some pretty interesting GPP and cash plays I did over on his channel. So if you guys want to check that out, I'm going to leave a link to the description for the video down below. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out, show some love, sub to his channel, and whatnot. But let's jump into this here on DraftKings and FanDuel. Really going to want to focus on a few things here. I think in cash games, my favorite captain is so far is DeAndre Hopkins. I think his safe floor is really hard to get away from. I think just the double-digit targets, 5 straight games, even against Indianapolis when you played him here, 9 for 106 and a touchdown, 28 DraftKings points. I think it's really hard to get away from him here in cash games. I think you got to pair him with Watson. And then you're really left with a tough choice. You're left with Brissett or Hilton because you're going to want to get one of those guys in. You're not going to be able to get both in cash games, I don't think. But I think you're going to want to get one of them in. I could see going Ty, but the injury a little bit scares me. The floor for Brissett in this game seems to be pretty solid. If you go with Hilton here, you're left with 4,100. If you go with Brissett, you're left with 3,800. I think you can go with Hilton. That leaves you with 4,100. I would probably want to play a kicker like Kaimi Fairbairn, maybe Jonathan Williams, and then run it back with Chester Rogers. Makes a ton of sense there. This lineup works very well for me. But if you wanted to run with Brissett, which I talked about in my video that I did earlier today, I would definitely want to run that back with Chester Rogers. And I'm a big fan of Eric Ebron today if he plays. So if Eric Ebron plays, I like Ebron. And then I would run that back with Kaimi Fairbairn. I think Ebron going up against the Texans secondary safety, Justin Reed isn't going to be playing today, which is going to allow a lot over the middle of the field for slot receiver Chester Rogers and tight end Eric Ebron, since they run a lot of 2 tight end sets. I think it makes a ton of sense for Ebron if he's good to go to really expand the field. But I think the core today is definitely Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, and either Brissett or Hilton. I'm going to leave that up to you guys to determine, but I would probably give the nod to Brissett because you're not going to get a better lineup if you play Hilton over Brissett. Now, as far as the other receivers go, Will Fuller's questionable, probably going to play. Kenny Stills is good to go, and then you have Kiki Kuti. If Will Fuller plays, he's a strict GPP play for me today. Indianapolis zone defense really limits the deep ball a lot, so I don't think Will Fuller or Kenny Stills are going to really have too much really impact on the game. On the side of Houston, or on the side of Indianapolis, Pascal, I don't really have too much interest in at 8K with Ty back. Chester Rogers makes some sense. Eric Ebron makes some sense as well. But the running back situation over here on Indianapolis is going to be a really murky waters here. We have Jordan Wilkins, Jonathan Williams, and Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines being a very aggressive pass-catching back. You have Jordan Wilkins as well, and Jonathan Williams. I think that Jonathan Williams is going to get the nod for me today. I think he makes a ton of sense. I think you can really jam him in the lineup here. He's going to get the touches. Saw when Marlon Mack left this game with an injury, he went 13 attempts for 116 yards, and that was just in the fourth quarter. So I really think that he makes a ton of sense. If you pair him with Chester Rogers, you could probably get Kiki Kuti, and that would make a little bit more sense. You won't be able to get up to a kicker there. You'll be 100 short. So I would probably, if you're going to want to play Jordan Williams, I would probably roll with Hilton and not Brissett. If you're going to want to play Ebron and Rogers, I would roll with Brissett. So for tournaments, I think it's going to be the best place to really target tournaments is probably Will Fuller if he's going to play. I think Will Fuller makes a ton of sense in tournaments if he's going to play. He's a very aggressive deep ball threat. He makes a ton of sense, and I think you fade Deshaun Watson at all costs. I think you pair those guys with somebody like Carlos Hyde. Makes a ton of sense. You drop Ty in there, and you're left with 5K. You get Jonathan Williams, and then you run it back with Fairbairn. I think that's what you do in tournaments. I think you get a bunch of Houston with sprinkling a little bit of Colts in there. But what really makes a ton of sense to me is just completely overloading the Indianapolis front. I think that going up against 29th ranked the defense in the Texans, who is just having a rough time without J.J. Watt. They're dropped to 26 in the rank in sack rate, and they're dropped to 22nd in the league in quarterback hit rate. So I think you can really, really capitalize here with somebody like Ty or Nyheim Hines at captain. If they're truly going to be behind for a majority of the game, I think it makes a bunch of sense for Nyheim Hines to be in the game. I think he's going to get a ton of run. I think it makes a ton of sense for him, and pair him with Ty, run it back with all these guys. And then I think I would probably only play hide from Houston, and I would just run it back with 2 running backs. I would run the complete side of the Indianapolis offense, just capture everything I can, and then just hope that Houston has the same game as they did against the Ravens last week, which is definitely very possible, but I don't think so. This game is currently at a 45.5 over under, and they have since moved down from 46.5 to 45. Houston's favored 4.5 points, so I think that this is going to be a fairly close game. I think it's going to start out slow, maybe a few kicker points, but I think that overall Deshaun Watson should really try to look the way of DeAndre Hopkins. Now over here on FanDuel, things get a little interesting. The pricing here is really goofy. I think Deshaun Watson makes the best play at captain. I think he makes a ton of sense. I think you can play Brissett as well, and then you get a lot of options down here. I would definitely want to play TY at 11.5K. The pricing is so weird. And without full PPR, I don't have an interest in 14.5K DeAndre Hopkins in cash games that much. I do have a lot of interest in him on DraftKings at the pricing that he's at, only because of that full PPR. And then, like I said, at 8.7K, I would probably want to play Will Fuller, and I would be left with 9.5K left, and I could play Pascal, Stills, Fairbairn, drop down and play Ebron, play Cootie, play whoever you want, but I think you play Deshaun Watson at captain on FanDuel. Makes a ton of sense to play somebody like him on FanDuel, especially in the captain spot, but a little more contrarian play in the captain spot, if you're looking to get a little bit of edge, is to probably captain somebody like Nyheim Hines. At 10K, it makes a ton of sense. If he catches a touchdown, runs wild, and he's fully integrated into the passing game, I think it makes a ton of sense to just roll with Hines at captain, completely fade Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, and just roll with the full onslaught of guys over here. You're left with 14.5K, and you can run it back with maybe Carlos Hyde. This really gives you a full diverse lineup here. I think GPP, the real approach is to do the same thing we did on the Showdown. Back when it was the Chiefs and the Chargers, when we rostered Keenan Allen at captain. I think the best overall GPP captain is probably Nyheim Hines or T.Y. Hilton. But for cash games, the captain for me is probably going to be DeAndre Hopkins. It makes the most sense. The volume is there. On both sites it works, but on FanDuel I would probably do Deshaun Watson at captain. He's got the most upside and a safer floor. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. For a more in-depth GPP breakdown, go ahead and check out that video in the description below. We talk about T.Y. at captain, Kiki Cootie at captain, and a kicker at captain as well for tournament plays. But for cash game plays, it's definitely got to be DeAndre Hopkins over there on DraftKings. Makes a ton of sense to really put him in the captain spot, run it back with the 2 quarterbacks, and then throw in some of those low-tier pass catchers that really just create some value for you in your lineups. So with that being said, appreciate everything below in the description. Just go ahead and check it out. If you guys are interested in signing up for Fantasy Draft, if you want to go ahead and do that, we still have that offer available in the description below. You can go ahead and sign up, get the free NFL Season Pass. Also, leave a like on this video. Comment your favorite play from this Showdown slate down below so I can go ahead and get active with you guys in the comments. So yeah, comment down below, subscribe, and like if you haven't already. I'll see you guys tomorrow on Friday for the NFL main slate video. Good luck to everybody tonight if you are not a member. If you are a member, get active in the Discord. Check out the cheat sheets. It won't be live later on today. With that being said, peace and good luck to everybody.